The abolitionist movement began in Europe in the 18th century and eventually spread to the United States. Between 1777 and 1804, northern states passed gradual abolition laws, and in 1807, Congress banned the importation of enslaved people. But these efforts did not affect the slave trade within the U.S. Southerners, in fact, rejected any form of abolition and only intensified their focus on slavery as they pursued the continuation of slavery to reap the profits from cotton production. Abolitionists consequently pushed for an immediate end to slavery, sending petitions to Congress, organizing boycotts, and circulating media that condemned slavery. Two of the most prominent abolitionists were journalist William Lloyd Garrison, who published the abolitionist newspaper The Liberator in 1831, and Frederick Douglass, a former slave who presented his first-hand account of life as a slave to large crowds and published the popular autobiography, Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass. Despite their efforts, abolitionists faced two major obstacles. First, abolition destabilized the already fragile balance between the North and the South. Second, many considered slavery a matter of states' rights and viewed federal involvement as unconstitutional. The tide began to turn in the 1840s, though, as Northerners increasingly wanted to keep slavery out of the Western territories. Also, Harriet Beecher Stowe's 1852 novel, Uncle Tom's Cabin, stunned readers with graphic depictions of slavery's cruelty and sold over 300,000 copies in its first year, encouraging many to support the abolitionist cause. The United States women's movement grew out of abolition, but was not immediately successful because the public's focus on the anti-slavery campaign left little room for other causes. Many early supporters of women's rights also advocated for abolition. Lucretia Mott, for example, played a key role in the anti-slavery movement, but she also helped found the Philadelphia Female Anti-Slavery Society, which fought for equality for women and African Americans. Ironically, women faced discrimination within the abolitionist movement. While Garrison's followers fought for equality for African Americans and women in the American Anti-Slavery Society, splinter groups formed, such as the Liberty Party, which limited women's ability to participate, and the American and Foreign Anti-Slavery Society, which barred women outright. This discrimination led women's rights leaders, including Lucretia Mott and Elizabeth Cady Stanton, to organize the Seneca Falls Convention in 1848. Also called the First Women's Rights Convention, Seneca Falls attendees drafted a Declaration of Sentiments modeled after the Declaration of Independence, and listed their demands for equality, including the right to vote. Ultimately, though, women's equality took a backseat through the Civil War as activists focused their attention on abolition. Nevertheless, the women's movement would come to the forefront in the latter half of the 19th century.